Cheers, my new buckaroo. How the heck are you? I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, for the purposes of this video anyway. So, I've got Bushmills Prohibition recipe. It was billed as the Peaky Blinders edition. It's at 92 proof, but it was the same price as just a regular Bush, so I had to pick it up. Yeah, it was it was $24.99. Prohibition recipe Irish whiskey at 92 proof. And well, have it three ways. I'm only going to drink two of them in front of you, though. The first I had was using the Brady's Coffee, barrel-aged Irish whiskey coffee. So I made some Irish coffee with that you'll see the picture. But I'll tell you, man, it was just, it's crazy good. I used one raw sugar cube. I didn't have a heavy cream, but I used just a little half and half with it. 1 ounce of the whiskey, and oh my goodness, it was incredible. So anyways, I'm going to skip right to, before I get too much melting going on here, I've got it on the rocks. I like to do neat first to give me more notes, but I don't want too much water to get in here, so we're just going to go straight to on the rocks here. Prohibition recipe. Doesn't really say anything about it, but it is 92 proof. I thought that was interesting. Whiskeys. Good Lord, I can't read that with this light I got in here. Whiskey's good proofing water tells you who's real and who isn't. Tommy Selby. Anyway, let me show that to you. Makes a lot of sense. Anyway, it makes a lot of sense, man. I do have 1 ounce poured in there and 1 ounce poured in my Bushmills glass, as you see there. But let's finish up this rocks here first. Man, that's good. I got just enough. Yeah, I didn't want too much to melt in here. You want just enough to get it good and cold. You get it just cold enough and all those sugars will come to the surface. Too much and it just becomes a little bitter on you. And I'm just about at what I call that sweet spot where you really feel those sugars right away. Oh, this is good. I haven't bought regular Bush in quite some time, and not because I don't like it, it's because there's so much other things available that there doesn't seem to be a reason to it. But I hadn't seen this one before, and at $24.99 for a 92 proof Bushmills, it just seemed like too good a deal to pass up. And curiosity got the better of me. Curiosity got the better of me, man. As my dad would say, curiosity killed the cat, and satisfaction never brought him back to life. Anyway. Oh, mercy. I'd say that Irish coffee was just insanely good. I used 1 ounce of the whiskey. But what I did is I put that sugar cube in and I poured that 1 ounce of whiskey over it while my coffee was brewing. And while the coffee was brewing, yeah, that whiskey just kind of dissolved that sugar. And then I put the hot coffee in and that did the rest of the trick. A little bit of half and half. I did 1 ounce of half and half as well. And a little bit of whipped cream on top because, well, you know, you gotta have a little bit of cream, baby. It's Irish coffee after all. I hate ordering it out because they give you this watered down version of, right? They give you what, maybe a half ounce of whiskey. Oh boy, this coffee is just crazy good. I haven't quite used as much as it shows here, but I've used a good portion of it. I poured some beans in my grinder. There's still some in there, but I've used a lot of it for just having it for a couple days. It's really delicious. It's really, really delicious. Made a full pot this morning, and I just made 1 cup, or my wife made me 1 cup so I could do some Irish coffee. Oh, mercy, Percy. Oh, see, I'm right there now. I got right at that sugar. A little bit of honey. You might feel some heather notes in there. Almost feel like I get a hint of peach, but that just might be the moment talking. That might be the moment. Yeah, I never tasted that before in the bush, but yeah. But then again, I've never had this particular variety of Bushmills either, so you never know. All right, let's get to neat, shall we? Oh my. Oh, the nose on that is exquisite, yeah. Bush was my first Irish whiskey way back when. I had actually had it before I'd had Jameson. Kind of went back and forth, to be honest with you, which one I preferred until I started finding other Irish whiskeys. And then I had my first single malt whiskey and went, oh, my first single malt Irish. Actually, the first single malt Irish I had was the 10. Then I had the 16, and this was way back. I'm going back about 3 decades now. And then, of course, we've had others since then. But boy, that first time I had that Bush 10, I went, oh, oh. Prices of Irish, prices of all whiskey, not exclusive to Irish bourbons have gone way up too, but yeah, prices of Irish have gone up just a lot, just over the last couple of years. I mean, it was just let's see, it was just a few years ago I was able to buy the Bush 16 for about $75, and now it's closing in on what. It's 100 and something now. The last time I saw the last time I bought the Bush 21, I should qualify this. Last time I bought the Bush 21 was about in 2012, and I only paid $98 for it, and now it's over $200. Oh my gosh. Of course, it's been over 10 years, but still, man, that's a lot of inflation. $200? You gotta be fucking me. Yeah, I mean, the last time I bought again, it's been that long too. It's been well over a decade. I bought the Middleton, and again, it was like $125 when I paid for it, and I think it was $2.50 last time I saw it. So obviously I'm not able to buy. I've had to get creative. I mean, I've started looking at other brands and buying different things. And quite frankly, I've been finding a lot of different whiskeys, Irish whiskeys, that I actually prefer to those that I've mentioned at a much lesser price. And that's kind of how whiskey works is if they don't quite have the name, you might be able to get a steal on a whiskey. That's kind of how bourbons are these days too. All of a sudden you've got just average run-of-the-mill bourbons becoming allocated. They try to make something important that isn't that good, and of course you've got these lemmings that will all of a sudden for whiskey that they wouldn't pay $25 for a month ago, all of a sudden they're willing to pay $200 because some magazine or some idiot says they should buy it. Now all of a sudden it's hard to find, so now they buy it. I don't think there's anything wrong with whiskeys like Buffalo Trace, but it's worth about $25 if you're paying more than that for it. You're an idiot. Same with Blanton's. I think Blanton's is a fine $50 whiskey, but I got to be honest with you, for $50, there's at least 6 whiskeys on the shelf for the same price that I'd rather have, depending on what city I'm in and what locals I'm looking at. But there are people that will pay $250, $300 or more a bottle just because somebody makes it allocated. It just doesn't make any good sense. But it's the it's the all hat no cattle folks, right? It's the folks that want to show you this big, look at all these whiskeys I have. They have no idea what any of them taste like. They post this big old picture. I've got 300 whiskeys. Well, great. Open a fucking liquor store. I'm never going to have that many because I drink what I buy. I'm not buying any particular whiskey to prove something to my friends or people that aren't my friends, people in whiskey groups that I will never meet. And that's wrong with these folks these days. You got these folks in these whiskey social media groups that are only buying specific whiskeys just so they can say, hey, look, I had this. Aren't I special? No, you're an idiot. Again, I bought this not because it was a Prohibition recipe, not just because it was a Prohibition recipe, just because it was a special edition. I liked it because of those things, and it's 92 proof. But again, it was only $24.99, and if you can pay $24.99 for any 92 proof quality whiskey, you got a good whiskey, or you got a bargain. The fact that this really is good, and I'm really surprised they had it for that price. It's a I was gonna say small liquor store, but it's not that small, especially for the town that it's in. It's a liquor store in Clinton, Missouri, and I gotta believe if I were to find this I haven't seen it in my town, but I'd be surprised if it's less than 30. Quite frankly, I'd be surprised if it's less than 35. I'm not sure why they've got a price for 25, but I wasn't asking questions. The truth is, I didn't even pay 25 for it. He gave me a discount. He gave me a 5% discount on everything we bought on there. So I mean, I paid $24.99 less 5%. Is it a whiskey that I'll drink mostly neat? Probably not, but it's a whiskey I'll drink probably about 50-50. Yeah, it is good neat, but I will want to try it in some other things. There's certainly going to be at least one more Irish coffee, but actually drinking this neat, it is absolutely gorgeous. Do feel that vanilla oak, again, a little honey, a little heather. I'm getting that peach note. I don't know I'm picking up that peach note, but again, it could just be the moment. Man, that is good. That is really good. And even though it probably would have been worth it at 30 a bottle, I probably would have just overlooked it. But the fact that it was staring at me, the Prohibition recipe, 92 proof for about the same price that the regular Bushmills cost in the store, that when it's not on sale, I just felt like I had to buy it. It felt like a moral imperative at that point. It was a moral imperative, man. anyways, I digress. Oh, it is good though. Yeah, you feel like a little bit of a honey sweetness in there, just light, you know. That's kind of what attracted me to Irish whiskey way back when, growing up a bourbon drinker. When I first had an Irish, I thought, oh, that's interesting because it's a little lighter, a little smoother, a little sweeter. But every bit as complex as a bourbon. In some ways more. It's just more subtle. And that's what was interesting for me, is breaking through or breaking down those subtleties. And I think a lot of folks that don't like Irish whiskey, especially Scotch drinkers, will say it doesn't have enough of this, that, or the other, are those folks that just don't have the understanding of those subtleties or the ability to break them down. Because, yeah, I mean, that's Irish whiskey is undoubtedly more subtle than a Scotch. There's no doubt about that. But it doesn't mean it has any less flavor. You just got to have those taste buds for it. And this is done very nice. Yeah, I mean, it is a blended Irish, but boy, it is tasty. There's that hint of, gets that slight hint of oak and spice in the finish. Again, much more subtle than a bourbon for obvious reasons. But just enough in there. You just gotta take your time with it. It's not even that you have to search for it or really try hard to feel those subtleties. You just gotta wait for it. Just pay attention. Ah, that is good. Anyways, I digress as we wrap this up. So I know I didn't drink the Irish coffee in front of you, but I needed to talk about it, and you'll see the pictures at the end because I had to take a picture. It was some amazing Irish coffee. Let me show you this bottle one more time, though. This is Brady's Barrel Aged Coffee. I found this at a little Irish shop in Weston, Missouri, and I said, "Oh, I gotta try this stuff." And boy, it is good. It is really good if you can find it in your neck of the woods. Wow. And if you can find this whiskey in your neck of the woods, it's really good too. Bushmills Prohibition recipe. Irish whiskey, Prohibition blend, non-chill filtered at 92 proof. Let me show you that there. Anyways, set that down. I'm going to get my prop out of the way now because we don't really need that at the moment. Oh, mercy. I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, plug whiskey drinking, prepare wisdom man. All right, good guys. Launch you.